This week, I decided to share my story as to why I chose the University of Waterloo as my home, and the biggest investment I made so far in my life. Although I had moments of doubt, I will never regret my decisions. Stay tuned as I talk about my personal reasons why I chose to go to UW instead of staying in Toronto, and a bit about my program and a sneak peek of what's to come on Dear Fresher Me.
College. Do you remember what it was like when you first got your acceptance letter, just like it was yesterday? Well, if you're watching this video, you're most likely here for one of four reasons. One, you probably did just get your acceptance letter, and you're so excited to learn more about the next chapter of your life. Or two, you're a senior in high school, still trying to figure out which Canadian university or college or school is meant for you. And three, what is three? And three, you're starting college soon and you don't know what the heck you're doing or what to expect. Or four, you're my mom watching this video wanting to support your daughter's failed YouTube career. Hi Mom, thank you. Well, lucky for you, you came to the right person. Or video, whichever. Sort of. But let me dress the part before I tell you why. That's better. Now you can watch 100 videos on why college is a scam and why it's just a waste of your money trying to get a degree that may or may not get you a job. But that's not why I'm here. Of course, I agree that university and college is a luxury where not everyone can afford it, and not everybody wants to go. School is definitely not for everyone. But if you can't afford it and wanting to pursue a degree of some sort is what you want, is the path that you want in life, I highly recommend it for all the right reasons. For me personally, it was a path that I wanted because in high school, I kind of struggled finding a part-time job because I didn't have any experience. Although I had volunteer experience, it just didn't translate into a possible work experience for me. And so I chose to go to school into a degree that was perfect for me, which was English. So all in all, I highly recommend going to college for the experience, finding friends for life, experiencing all sorts of things of studying abroad, co-op, internships, work experience, events, clubs, networking, and all that through college. Now you're probably wondering, why should I listen to this person who I have no idea who she is? Well, let me tell you who I am. So to get to know a little bit about me and a bit about my experience, we're gonna have to go a few years back.
The reason why I went to the University of Waterloo is because my friend Erica and James and I went to University College Fair at the Toronto Convention Center back in 2015, like the fall of 2015, just before we started applying for universities and colleges. And my mind was set on applying to University of Toronto or York University just because growing up, I did piano recitals at NCM, and piano recitals were at University of Toronto Scarborough. And through those recitals, it kind of got my parents loving the idea of me going to University of Toronto Scarborough. One, because it was I think 10 minutes of a drive away from us, which is 15-20 minutes one bus straight, and that was a great thing to them. And second is that University of Toronto has a high reputation. Don't get me wrong, it's great and all, but it wasn't for me. I probably because I was 8, but I just remember going to those recitals and just remember being in those big classrooms, probably that fits about 60 people, 60 students, and it was so dull, so gray, and the lighting was terrible. And just like, I know the buildings are supposed to be like historical and like architecturally old fashioned and that, but it just didn't seem like a great student life for me personally. And I didn't think I would enjoy it. And I think I would have had way too much pressure if I went to University of Toronto, just because it's a high reputable school. And so, and Waterloo is also a high reputable school. But I didn't feel as much pressure when I went to Waterloo as opposed if I were to go to University of Toronto. And the other reason why I wanted to go to Waterloo was because of their co-op program, which, as someone who had no experience with her field of interest, which was communications, English, filmmaking, digital art. I had no previous experience besides 2 film classes in high school and volunteering for the newspaper club. Other than that, none. I had no retail experience, which meant I had no customer service experience. I had some customer experience, but that was mostly volunteer, non-professional, and so I didn't think that would get me any job. And then my camp counseling jobs that I had in high school, that was one of the things that I wanted to highlight in order to be able to transfer those skills in a way that would meet the requirements of co-op jobs. And lo and behold, it worked. And so co-op was the main reason why I wanted to go to Waterloo, because I knew I didn't have experience, and the only way for me to get experience is through co-op, because I don't think anyone was going to hire me if I wasn't in co-op. So yeah. And then the second reason is we met a student who was, I think, 3rd or 4th year English student who was just like raving about the program and the stuff and the extracurricular activities that he was doing in clubs and the courses he was taking and the study abroad trip that he went to. And me and my friend were just like so fascinated and so interested in more about Waterloo and the program specifically. And that kind of just like put like a highlighter or like stars around Waterloo being a school that I knew I wanted to go to. And so the final months of high school, I pulled through. I raised my average, I think about 7 marks higher than my normal average, just so I can get a scholarship and just so I can secure a place at the University of Waterloo. And yeah, that's the reason why I went to University of Waterloo, is because my best friend was going co-op, and I kind of guess the past couple days I realized a little part of me was trying to run away from my problems and trying to run away from my old life in Scarborough. So it was perfect because Waterloo is an hour and a half away. But also, Waterloo being an hour and a half away was also my downfall.
I found a place that I think could offer me and my future, and that was the University of Waterloo. Okay, there's my cat. He also agrees. To give you a glimpse of first year Angelica, that's me with my friend Erica. I might have to pixelate or blur her out depending on how she feels, but yeah, this was us. First week of school, orientation week, first day in the classic orientation gear. And yeah, that was me first year. And after 5 years, I went through 3 co-op placements, all at the University of Waterloo. I studied honors English, rhetoric, media, and professional communication with a minor in digital arts. It all combined my love for literature, storytelling, media, filmmaking, graphic design, all that jazz into one Bachelor of Arts degree in English. And so through that, I also became this person, me, or me. So you kind of get an idea of what my experience is like from going from a first year student to somebody who ended up working as a co-op at the University of Waterloo and being featured in the marketing videos.
I don't know why I sound like I'm bragging here. Please believe me when I say I feel imposter syndrome in every co-op job because I don't feel like I deserve to be there. But I always did try my best to meet the job requirement and expectation. I will always feel humble and thankful for every opportunity and experience I had in university.
But it's kind of hard to explain the 5 years of my life in one video. So I decided to create a series called Dear Fresher Me. How original, right? To kind of be a person to give you unsolicited advice of what being a university student. Was I an English major? Of what being a University of Waterloo student was like before and during a pandemic. So basically, in this video series, I want to touch on co-op, what it's like to fail as a co-op student, and how hard it is to really get a job, but also motivate you and provide you with all the tools, digital tools, physical tools, and tips and advice to land your co-op position and be that extra motivator, because you got this. You got this. Tips on how to manage school, possibly do some bujo, which is bullet journaling with you, and how to just like manage the day-to-day school life with your personal life. Events, what extracurricular activities and clubs and volunteers that you should really do and that is worth doing between classes and while you're a student. What college parties are like. No, I'm kidding. I was not a party goer. It was just like me and my friends in our PJs watching To All the Boys in our apartment. But how did I forget about studying abroad? That was a big factor of why my university experience was amazing for me personally after first year. Study abroad, highly recommend. University of Waterloo has one of the best study abroad opportunities, student exchange opportunities that you'll ever live and get to kind of brag about every year. Honestly, I just want to be like a bestie, an alumni, to just give you some advice, some tips, and share some of my stories as a recent University of Waterloo graduate. And there are a lot of stories that I think are worth telling because you get an upfront glimpse of my experience. And yeah, I think this is what I wanted to do while I was a student, but I may seem put together and I may seem like you know, capable. But let me tell you, my mental health, first year, ooh, that was a doozy. And so I started this YouTube channel hoping to balance everything out. But lo and behold, university got stressful and I kind of neglected this channel. And so I wanted to bring it back by doing what I love, which is talking and sharing my experience. And so hopefully all the clips, all the photos and everything that I accumulated over the past 5 years and put it into the series. So I hope you continue to watch the series and come along with me, and maybe you learn something. I plan to post every Sunday, hopefully weekly, fingers crossed. I'm gonna need all of you to keep me accountable, to keep posting every week. And so make sure to hit the bell button to get notified when the video goes live. And yeah, give this video a like, a thumbs up, and comment down below what type of videos you want to see and what type of content, topics that you want me to talk about. And make sure to tune in to the first video of this series where I talk about orientation week, first week of classes, and a little story about fire alarms and everyone seeing me in a towel. Now, isn't that a clickbait? I promise you, it's not a clickbait. It's a true story, and you're just gonna have to wait a little bit of spice to leave you with that. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!